On January the 6th, 2022, a Cancer moon will be forming in the sky in an incredible array called a wedge connected to asteroids such as Panacea, the thing that is the remedy for all, the cure for everything that ails you. And so it's a quality of healing. Plus, this moon is on one of the most positive stars in the sky, the fixed star Canopus, which can bring protection, healing, and celestial guidance to you. And lastly, there's an asteroid named Hermes, the messenger of the god, deeply embedded within this sky during the time of the moon. I'm making this moon a lot about healing and healing messages for the world and for you in particular. It's actually a sweet moon. It has already formed a square to Chiron in the past, and the healing is done. It's moving past the acute crisis into some kind of stage of resolution. For you, based on your rising sign, we're going to talk about where that healing, resolution, and the divine messages are coming from. Like a portal is being opened up, a doorway of divine messages coming each of our way. Now, divine messages come often through phone calls, emails, synchronicity. It's not like you're going to pick up your phone and there's God. Hey, God, what's going on? Or Goddess. No, but it's going to be one of those times. Add to that, the last thing I'm going to say about it is this. The cool thing is that Mercury will go to the heart of the sun on the very next day. And that's his Cazimi, as he's going to be born again. Yes, praise the Lord, as a new version of himself, and will become a morning star. He won't be visible until around the second week of January. That's all good and well, because it means things that are happening around this moon will become even more evident in your life around the middle of January. Now, before we get started, if you're new to my channel, please hit the like button and subscribe. It would really, really, really help my channel to grow. And if you like what I'm doing, of course, don't like me if you don't. And second of all, my name is Lori Lothian. I'm a tropical Western whole sign house astrologer, and I use techniques and tools from ancient Babylon, Persia, a little bit of Vedic, but mostly you can call me a traditional astrologer. All right. I do love the asteroids, though. The devil is in the details, and that asteroid belt tells us a lot about what's going on. And we'll be talking about the asteroids involved with this moon today. I'm going to show you the chart. And by the way, I just love this picture. I'm an Aries, Sun and Moon and Mercury and Athena. So this is Aries behind me and all the other signs around me. But anyway, I'm going to show you, sorry about my squeaky chair. I'm going to show you the sky right now so you can get the lay of the land, and then we'll do all signs. This is going to be one of my shorter videos. Normally I'm quite long-winded these days, but I've got a few things on my plate, recording on December 26th that I must attend to. And it's still the holiday season. If you want to be on my Patreon community for only $5 a month, you get this content ad-free, sometimes 5 weeks, a week away, 3 or 4 days ahead of the general public, usually not any less than 2 days ahead. So just a thought, you might think about that. I know people are annoyed with the ads. Let's get talking about this sky. Look at this. We can see that there is a moon, and that is right here. The moon at 16 degrees of Cancer conjunct the star Conopus. Now, Conopus is one of those stars that's all-purpose, like good. Like this, you just can't find, like that. I can't find the downside. Okay, when I look at that star, and I'm going to just take myself over to the back end of the software and read about it with you. Okay. Now it's interesting because Canopus and let me get it on, hang on, and Sirius aren't too far away. And Sirius, the dog star, is around 14, 15 degrees of Cancer. The software didn't think the moon was close enough, but it is pretty close to Sirius, the dog star, a very mystical star of magic, fame, and alchemy, where the sun of the United States of America sits. So bottom line, then, you've also got a star associated with the sun, the solar identity of the USA, connected to this very potentially healing new full moon. Just a general principle. Full moons are completions of something that started on a new moon 6 months earlier. So you go back to June the 28th, there was a new moon in Cancer. Add till the 6-month period until we get to January 6th. Now something's coming to fullness, completion, fruition, harvest. Those are the metaphors, fruiting. And so for the United States, things that were going on in June could come to fullness. Things that are going on in your life could come to fullness. And that was June 28th. It really rolled into July. So things that were happening in July. So keep that in mind as a principle, potentially to always identify full moons as some kind of continuation of a narrative that started 6 months before. So in the sky, there's Canopus, and in the software that I'm using, which is AstroGold for Mac, Canopus is described as such. It is said to be this, a traveler star, guardian angel star, voyagers literally or spiritually. There's your mystical part of this, religious or spiritual focus that leads to refinement, bestows a life of opportunities to explore many options and develop creative gifts for the full. Now that's reading it as if it's on your natal chart, but for the world, there is a star that opens up opportunities, creativity, spiritual and religious focus, a guardian angel, a protector of travelers. So you've got the gist there. I'm more or less saying it's positive. And here that star sits on the moon, and what the heck, I may as well just annotate that for you, make it bigger. I'm sorry, I realized I was in small size mode. And, here we are, annotate. So there's Canopus in the moon, and it's next to Athena. She's an asteroid, and she's conjunct the moon. And she's about knowledge and wisdom and strategy. And she's a bit of a brainiac. And she often is about the ways in which we can deeply understand something from a place of profound intelligence. And so here she sits offering up some sort of new understanding, wisdom, or knowledge to the moon. Now, the moon in Cancer is very we the people, right? It's in its dignity. This is one of those moons that's in its happy sign. And so keep that in mind as a principle as well. So we've got this wisdom and knowledge dispensing goddess sitting on a moon with this very protective star. And they've just come off of a square to Chiron. So basically the moon was in a square to Chiron 4 degrees earlier. So this is a story that's like behind the moon. It's not that far behind the moon, FYI, it's just hours behind, but the moon's not going into the Chironic wound. The moon is leaving the Chironic wound. And in fact, even the sun at 16 degrees of Capricorn has already dealt up the Chironic Arian wound, the wound in Aries. So in your own chart, there's something that's trying to be completely resolved and healed, because Panacea, the cure or remedy for everything, and also connected to the idea of ethical issues with cures, is sitting as Panacea. I gotta make sure I get the right asteroids. Where is she? Panacea, there she is. No, sorry, so many asteroids. I'm trying to remember who's who. Okay, oh, I'm in annotate. Let me stop the annotation. It won't let me click on a button. So hang on a sec. I'll give you 30 seconds to get this annotation off. Annotate, undo. You gotta laugh, right? Who doesn't like to do anything when I wanted to do it? Let's just leave that for now. So where was I? So we have Panacea and we have Pandora. We have a lot going on in the sky. So let's talk about all of the pieces that are going on in the asteroids. Why are we talking about asteroids? Because I know I'm babbling right now, because the devil is in the details, and there are 22,000 named asteroids in the asteroid belt, or now 24, and they really do flesh things out. Yes, the moon is actually still on Sirius, which is wonderful. So both Canopus and Sirius are connecting to this moon. And Sirius is that occult star that can bring deep mystery, magic, creativity. It has a lot to do with fame and success if it's in your natal chart. It's a star of great power. And it's often connected to understanding, spiritual understanding through the hard work we've done, taking the heart, going through the deep spiritual hard work to come up with what we're deserving from all the hard work we did. So keep that in mind. Yeah, Sirius and Canopus. The moon is closer to Canopus, but they're both involved. But where I was going was the asteroids. Okay. Why? Because as I said, they bring in this, like they flesh things out. They bring in this detail that you're not going to otherwise see. And Uranus is conjunct the asteroid Pan for pandemic. All right. And just want you to really listen to me for a second. This is about the collective before we get to your side. So Uranus in the sky at the time of the new moon, this very protected, wonderful new moon, we the people, moon in Cancer, is conjunct the asteroid Pan, which can be panic, of course, and pandemonium, but it can also be about pandemic. So Uranus is conjunct Pan at the time of this moon. And then you add to the narrative the other piece, which is this. is that there is an asteroid in the sky also connected to the remedy for everything, the cure-all, and her name is Panacea. Now, one thing I want to say about Panacea is that she's not an asteroid that's always just about the remedy. She's about the cost of a remedy, or looking at the ethical issues involved in things that are going to be a cure or a cure-all or not a cure, whichever you want to call it. And she is in a square. And that's a tight, not easy, not flowing, not cooperative energy, right? She's like in a square energy to Uranus. And this could mean there's going to be some sudden events in the world that we don't really see coming, that are difficult to do with the words cure, remedy, panacea, and cure all. I'm going to stop the share, and I'm just going to grab my tea, because I've got my tea with me, but it's freezing here and I'm going to warm it up, but I'll be right back. You won't even know I'm gone. So my blue tea, and it's literally blue, I wish I could show it to you, is now warm again. And so let's get going. And I just added Panacea to it to show you while I was topping up my tea. So you can see it, like I know where she is in the sky, but it helps to show it to you guys as well, because some of you guys like to learn this stuff. And so it's important to show you what I'm seeing. All right, so let me get that out of the way. And did we get everybody drawn in here? Where'd she go? There she is. Okay, there's Panacea, the asteroid that represents the cure for everything. She's sitting at 14 degrees of Aquarius, and she is in a square to Uranus, the god of something unexpected or sudden, or a lightning bolt of shock and awe, or, shock and awe stories can come up, and Pan for pandemic. So Panacea, pandemic, shock and awe, sudden events are going on in the sky at the time of this moon. And while the moon is not directly involved with Panacea, not like talking to Panacea, the moon is talking here to Uranus, 15 degrees, moon at 16. And in that sense, I think we're going to be hearing some stories in our news cycle to do with the protocols for health that were put into place during the pandemic, and some of the benefits of, and the risks of, and the costs of those remedies for the pandemic will be coming into the news cycle. And I'm focusing on the word news cycle because the moon, who's often known in the ancient world to be like a dispenser of news as she travels from planet to planet, gossiping and telling everybody what the last planet was doing, that moon is going to actually be waking into, or connecting into, or has connected into Hermes, the messenger of the gods at the top of the sky, connected to the vestal flame of some kind of devotional intensity, and Neptune, the god of confusion, but also connected to viruses. And so all of this is to say, expect some kind of powerful, shocking, but yet healing information in the news cycle. And I don't know that you're going to get the information while Mercury is invisible, even though he goes into the heart of the sun the day after this particular lunation. He won't be able to dispense news very well until around the 14th of the month. And what's interesting about the 14th of the month, when he becomes visible, is that Mars will also be going direct, will have been going direct, but has gone direct. Well, we have a direct Mars, we have, which is good. And we have this movement of Mercury into visibility again, and therefore we could have some combination of events that lead to breaking news stories that have to do with remedies for the cures and prevention, maybe for the pandemic or pandemics. And some of it could be revelations and disclosures and whistleblower stuff, and some of it could be good news stories, right? I don't know what it is. I really don't, but just stay tuned for that. Now let's go into your story. This is not meant to be really about the world. I'm going to say one thing before I start talking about you. Listen for your rising sign. It is the most accurate. And the reason is because it's when you came into the world. It represents you being born, your time of birth, where the eastern horizon lined up by sign. So as you can see, there's the Aries zone of the sky, and there's the eastern horizon at the time of birth. I'm going to leave this chart up for us today. I'm not going to go back to me. And that's because this is one of the times where you can see the wedge patterns moving through the sky. I didn't really go too much into what the wedge is about. But the idea is that it's kinetic tension between a sun and a moon in opposition, breaking through with the energy of Neptune, the vestal flame of sacred devotion, and Hermes, the messenger of the gods, news, the news cycle, what is coming blasting through the news cycle as a result of this full moon. And you'll be able to go back to June and find connections to this story. Like late June into the first 2 weeks of July, you'll go, oh my God, this is back in the news cycle. Whatever it is, we shall see what it is. Okay, I'm going to start with Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. Now, Aries, you're sitting here looking at a lunation. Go back to, the first couple of weeks of July when this is playing out as a new moon. It's in the 4th house of home, land, and real estate. Now, this is your property. This is your mother, the ancestors. This is your domestic life, your private life. This is a positive place for this moon, conjunct Sirius, the dog star. This lunation could really open up some kind of, and Sirius as well, the deep mysteries of the dog star are both activated in your domestic home life. With Athena, the knowledge and wisdom goddess, you may be studying, learning, researching something, or you may be coming into contact with direct spiritual revelation, and you may be putting it into some kind of book form. Or you may be finding that there's something about your home life that is deeply, deeply comforting for you, that you feel like you're into a new, like true home nest or something like that as you move through this full moon energy on the 6th of January. Add 2 weeks. Excuse my squeaky seat. I'll be right back. My phone is dinging and it's driving me nuts. I'm just going to turn it off. There we go. I'm back. Sorry, guys, when that phone is making that sound, I've got untucked pants pockets. It drives me crazy. Okay, so back to you. Yeah, basically here, look at this. I mean, this is wonderful because this is telling me that there's something for you as an Aries where you're feeling deeply nested, deeply resourced, spiritually, deeply at home within yourself. And you're looking across the sky at that sun with Mercury, the messenger, and the next day that sun goes into Cazimi in the house of your career. So what kind of career developments are coming through for you that are going to be opening up some new doorways of opportunity after January the 14th or 15th when Mercury is invisible? This could be information, news, communications, contracts, negotiations. This could be financially prosperous with Mercury, the god of marketing and mercantile in Capricorn. You may come up with a new vision or dream or idea or download about something you wish to do in your career. And or you just could get some really good news coming through the career part of your zone, along with some financial abundance. I do think with Pluto still up there until 2024, when he finally gets out, he's still in that last phase of transforming, terraforming, revealing to yourself what your true power is in the world. What is your true power in the world? Aries, sun, moon, but most accurate rising sign. Because this is what this last 2 years is going to be giving you, the final flourish on that big question. There's a book called The Leap, and it's about, are you in your zone of ordinary, your zone of excellence, or your zone of genius and what you do in the world? And Pluto's trying to dig you deep, deep into the roots of what's best for you to do in this world, coming from your zone of genius. So there's something about this lunation connected to getting more in touch with that zone of genius, as Mercury is doing a Cazimi here, right? That's the thing, becoming born again as a morning star and visible again in mid-January. The wedge is forming a kind of kinetic punch-out energy. And the punch out is into the pointing to the 12th house. Now, your 12th house energies are your dreams at night and your insights into yourself and your ashrams and your deep spiritual place of, contemplation. It can be foreign lands and travel or revenue generated from those lands as well. But, honestly, I think with the idea here of the Vestal flame and Neptune, you're maybe looking at this lunation opening up a very powerful gateway between your deep spiritual and private and domestic iteration of self, what you present to the world in your career, and how you wish to change the way you operate spiritually to connect to a more visible way of doing your spiritual life in the public sphere. I hope that makes some modicum of sense. And Hermes, the messenger of the gods here, I didn't mean to click on, I just want to circle him, this little antenna. You're getting dream messages. I mean, Mercury's job was to deliver dream messages. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Get ready for some dream messages. With Uranus sitting here, And he's opening up this like lovely little flow sextile to the moon and also to your Vestal flame energy in the 12th house. This could be a very shocking but positive development in your money story. Like, honestly, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's like a very good bump financially, and it's exciting. And I would say shocking can be good. You know, people go, oh my God, shock is so bad. But no, there's some kind of like, yay, you know, this is a mini grand trine. It's very karmically rewarding. It's almost like pulling on your deep ancestral line, your deep roots, on your past lives, and also bumping up your finances as a result as this moon takes hold, especially when Mercury is visible later on. And this financial jumpstart is really going to connect as well, because you can see that the Uranus energy is flowing up to the sun in your 10th house of career, where Mercury will Cazimi. So it's all about career, money, downloads, insights, but a deep restfulness in your 4th house of home. I'm looking at myself laughing. I'm moving to a new place. I'm an Aries sun and moon. I'm moving to a new place in January on the 13th, just a week after this lunation, just as Mercury becomes visible. And I'm so looking forward to it. It's so beautiful. It's a furnished rental. It's gorgeous. And it just makes me happy to be in that space. And I think that's going to be also connected to some, you know, domestic downloads and visions that can happen as I move into my new nest. You don't have to re-nest for this to be true. It's how you tenderly nurture self and other, and spiritual wisdom within your home and from your home that informs your career success as well as financial breakouts. Okay. Go back to June. What was happening? Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Well, so first of all, a new moon, a full moon. I hope I'm saying full. Guys, I'm sorry. You know, my brain. A full moon in your 3rd house can really be a story that involves 3rd house people, like siblings, or sometimes your extended family, your aunts, your cousins, your uncles, and those crew. And then you'd have to go back to June and say, well, was I doing something with or about those types of people? Because now it's coming to more fullness. And I mean, like really the first 2 weeks of July, and now it's coming to fullness January 6th, add 2 weeks. Now you're going to find a sense of comfort here. This is this every year you get this, right? This deeply nested, deeply happy, deeply comforted space of a moon, a full moon and a new moon in your 3rd house. So just know that this is one of the best moons of the year, conjunct Sirius, the dog star, and Canopus, and the wisdom and knowledge goddess Athena. This is a house also of learning. And it makes me realize that some of you Tauruses are going to want to study something, but I doubt you're going to, get your astrophysics degree. 3rd house learning is practical, useful learning, something you can use, a skill you can learn. And I realize I'm on a squeaky chair. I don't know what to do about that, because this is not my house. All right. So then the other thing I'd say is watch for the idea here that you could have, because Mercury is Cazimi the next day, and then by mid-January he's coming out where the sun sits across from the moon. So Mercury's involved, right? He's trying to, the moon is shining the light of the sun Cazimi basically into your 3rd house. You could have some news and some information coming through the house of the 9th place, which is the father. Can also be about foreign lands and travel. And because the full moon is in the house of trips as well, there definitely looks like for some Tauruses, there's some kind of travel opening, opportunity, information, or news that this moon is a part of generating, but you likely won't see it on January 6th. It's probably going to take form around the 14th or onward as you have a more visible Mercury. But get ready for that option. If you have anything to do with courts and legal matters that involve judges, this could be a very positive event that follows in the wake of this moon. Go back to June and in the first 2 weeks of July, end of June, and think about legal court matters or trips and travel. What was happening with trips and travel at the end of June? What was happening with legal court matters, or the first 2 weeks of July? So I know a Taurus person who was traveling in the first 2 weeks of July. And I also know another Taurus person who was dealing with a legal problem then. So, they're all coming back for review. And so you're going to look at how does this come to fullness and fruition, completion, graduation, and ending? And I do feel that because there's this energy of the protection star of Canopus, and the deep wisdom and magic of Sirius as well, that this can be a sign that things are going to work out in your favor. The moon is in the house of things that exist in your local neighborhood. So it could be about things in your neighborhood, coffee shops, restaurants, things like that, people in your hood, childhood friends as well. I think with the wedge kinetically pointing up to your 11th house, the 11th house is where you have allies and friends who want to benefit you. So this is kind of like a karmically rewarding place. And Mercury, Hermes, one of the versions of Mercury, the messenger, is sitting up here. And so what kind of messages, news, information will come through a friend, an ally, or a benefactor that can support you, or an eldest sibling, if that makes any sense in your life. And this is looking like a real blessing place, because the 11th house is such a positive space, and that vestal flame of devotion and a fire of sacred tending is with that messenger flowing so profoundly to this moon, that I think in the 2 weeks that follow, legal affairs, court affairs, travel events, travel affairs, things to do with your father or father figures, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, I'm drawing in meanings of the 3rd and 9th here, are coming to a completion. If you're at all a Taurus, however, in an academic environment like a university or college, this is also good for you, because the sun is up there, the moon is reflecting it in the day-to-day 3rd house local environment. You may have some good news about your studies, especially with a 3rd house. It could be something to do with your university studies connected to things you're doing in your local neighborhood. I'm not sure how that's going to look. The 11th house connected to the 9th house can also be about some kind of positive and maybe surprising reward through your educational studies, because Uranus is involved, right? So there's a bit of that, oh my God, I didn't expect that, didn't see that coming. Like shock and awe over here with this Uranus element. So look for that as well. It could literally be because you have Uranus in the house of you, that you deliver your own surprise good news about your career. You make a decision that you're not going to your studies academically, you make a decision all of a sudden, like a flashpoint, that you're not going to do that course after all, or you're going to change your major, or things like that can occur. Gemini, this is a moon that offers you the potential, as this lunation is in your 2nd house of money and earnings, for some renewed prosperity. And it's going to capitalize on a beginning of a seed for prosperity that you as a Gemini may have planted in the first 2 weeks of July 2022, as you came off of that new moon in the sign of Cancer. This time the moon is falling next to the wisdom and knowledge goddess, the intelligent strategist. She's quite very much about being able to strategize things financially, with Canopus, a protection star. So some financial protection, financial strategy, and financial knowledge and wisdom and fullness are happening. This can look like very bounteous financially to have this full moon so well positioned at this time. And because it's connected as well to the messenger of the gods sitting up there in your 10th house with the vestal flame, what you might have been devoting yourself to and tending in your career is going to pay off with some good news. It could be a call from the boss, an email, somebody, or if you're not employed, news that you got a job offer, or that you find news of a job you wish to apply for that's really going to work in your favor. Because the Mercury Cazimi is happening as well, as he goes into the heart of the sun the day after this lunation in your 8th house of chunky money, such as 401k, investment stocks, spousal money, inheritances, the whole thing, bank loans and mortgages. But when it's connecting to the 10th house, it's often a kind of a chunky money, like, what do you call it? Like a bonus, year-end bonus or something like that, or a start of the year bonus, or you're allowed to invest in the company and the company stock takes off. Excuse my squeaky chair. You got the idea. Oh, this is going to drive me nuts. I'm almost ready to just stand up and do the reading, but I have to put you guys on a higher table. I wish I could find like a way to prop you way high. When I move to my new place, I'm buying a stand. I'm going to do all my readings standing up. All righty. Not my client readings, all my YouTube videos standing up. Oh my God. Either I'm fidgety or this chair's gotten worse. Watch for the idea here that your dreams at night can be quite illuminating. Uranus is activated here, and he represents those dreams at night that you may be having, or if you're in a downtime, a meditation or a reverie. And of course, we do have this energy that could open up a door for you suddenly, like a new aha moment, like a download and stuff like that. I mean, it could be that you're going to have a eureka basically around something that has to do with your career that could really support you financially. And with a mini grand trine operating here as well, a lot of financial flow, because the 12th house is money that you can make through foreign land and shore, export import, but also just today barter and trade because of our PayPal and Stripe account. So it's just simply good for your finances all over. Also, lastly, the moon is about comfort in Cancer, and food is your second house. Watch for your food that this could be a very healing, protective, and restorative moon, saying eat comforting foods that are also good for you. You may find yourself looking at dietary shifts on this full moon, using knowledge and wisdom through books, learning, or education. So some of you Geminis are cleaning up your food act as well, and drinking and smoking and whatever else goes into your mouth. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. It's your moon, right? It's all about you. I hope I didn't gulp into the mic. Sorry. Now look, every year you get a moon here, so it's nothing new, right? It's always going to happen around this time of year. This is on January 6th this time, but this is on the beautiful stars Sirius and Canopus, and they're very protective and very manifold gifts and positivity here. So protection is one of them, guardian angel energy or whatever. So a magical stuff with knowledge and wisdom involved because of Athena plus strategy. And you are being able to use those knowledge, wisdom strategies to apply it towards your 7th house, where you're looking at the moon is looking over at the sun and reflecting the sun's light back at you. So this also could be news, information, and communication from a client, your husband, a business partner coming through in the 2 weeks that follow the full moon. That's going to be very positive. And especially because Mercury goes into the heart of the sun to renew himself and become brand new and be born again as a morning star. So he's going to be fresh and full of vim and vigor to dispense the output of good news to you through those other people. I mean, it could even just be your partner gets an incredible, powerful something good in their life, your love partner, and it's going to benefit you. And it's going to be around the 14th or so that Mercury will be a visible planet again, where we can potentially see him. He's always hard to see, honestly. I'm just saying he's at least 15 degrees away from the sun, and you could actually see the outpicturing, therefore, of some really good news because this moon has planted a seed. And again, we're talking about seed planting in the first 2 weeks of July. And so it may not be about things that are proximate. It could also be going back to the first 2 weeks of July, what was happening in your client's audience, other part of your sky, your marriage partner part of your sky, your business partner part of your sky. This is a fullness now. This is the fruition. I feel like with the wedge pointing at the Vestal flame and the messenger Hermes with the sacred tending goddess up here, the hearth flame, there's something kind of wisdom, knowledge, and learning that you're really going into. I think a lot of Cancers are going to research, study, or learn something. The only other option is to get some good news coming in here about a journey or a trip that you wish to take. And if you do take that trip or journey, it's going to dispense wisdom and knowledge. So this may be a learning trip. This may be a trip to purposefully acquire knowledge. This might be a spiritual getaway or something like that. Now, are you going to do it? On January 6th, probably not. I mean that you'll be able to, especially when Mercury becomes visible in the mid-January, plan the trip maybe, put all the pegs in place. And Uranus is involved in a kind of shock and awe sextile to that moon from the 11th. This is the house of the eldest sibling. This is the house of your friends who are allies and benefactors and the great gains from your career. You're kind of just recently lunar healed something, as the moon has just finished talking to Chiron to heal a career wound or a reputation wound. And now Uranus is picking up and going, okay, and here's some exciting cosmic rewards for you through an eldest sibling, through a friend that's going to really, really benefit you in some way. So, what is it? I don't know. This is what I love about Uranus. You can't predict it. It's pretty challenging to know what that guy's going to do, but like positive surprises, sextiling your identity from the house of significant, support from people who have your back, and or groups of belonging, and or your hopes, dreams, and wishes for your life. Maybe you're going to download a whole new game plan for your life in the wake of the moon on January 6th, add a couple of weeks. So Leo, sun, moon, but always most accurate rising sign. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're listening in the premiere and you're still with me, please hit the like button. If you hit the like button, my channel grows. If you haven't subscribed, would you consider doing so? I really appreciate it. That also helps my channel grow. Everything matters in this world of algorithms. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so the thing is that this is going to be the subtle moon, the one that is really more connected to the subtle realms. It's not like you're going to be knowing what this really means. You get one of these full moons and new moons here twice a year. So go back to July. This is your 12th house Leo rising. Go back to July of 2020, first 2 weeks of July of 22, because that's when you were most feeling the out picturing of a new moon in your 12th house. And now you're going to have the fullness here. Well, the 12th house can involve barter and trade from foreign lands, using a PayPal or Stripe account, or journeys to foreign shores. But it's also that dreams at night, subtle realms, plays. And so keep that in mind. It can connect to learning, and, because it is connecting to Chiron in the 9th house, and Chiron can be a guide or a mentor, and the lunations just come off of Chiron. For some Leos, this could be an opportunity to learn from a guide or a mentor, or to come to terms with a woundedness around a father or father figure. You can see that you have Mercury over in the 6th house, and he will be Cazimi, the sun, on January 7th, going into the heart of the sun and being born again as a morning star. This can give you a huge advantage in work situations starting about January 14th, where Mercury, the messenger, will open up a portal to potentially having some significant financial up levels in your work. And I really think that your work that you're doing in the world in particular can be positively impacted with financial improvement as a result of this. I mean, another thing is that Hermes, the other messenger, is in the 8th house of chunky money, like inheritances or bank loans or mortgages, but it's also a place of the secrets that are being revealed here. The messenger Hermes can reveal secrets or whisper sweet nothings that are hidden from view into your ear. And if that happens, it's all about the work story and the money story, really. If you have anything to do with pets or rents and tenancies, if you want to rent something, or you want to rent something out to someone else, this could be very auspicious as well. For Leos, you might find the perfect rental. You may rent a property. You may rent one out. You might get the perfect new pet. There's like a lot going on in that 6th house. You may be able to eliminate some financial debt, be able to pay off a credit card in the 2 weeks that follow the January 6th moon, especially looking to more momentum after January 14th, when Mercury is direct. And there's a little shock and awe from your career and reputation house up there with Uranus. And he's looking at that with, with a kind of straight trine, so positive news, information, but surprising, to do with work and career and reputation. All looks good for both those areas and your money stories. And even though the 12th house where the lunation is happening can be very subtle, I find that, in this case particularly, it's engaging a lot of planets in very visible places. But I find that when I go deep reverie meditation, people are like, I don't meditate, I don't remember my dreams. It could just be a sudden knowing. There could be some really good insight that comes to you in the 2 weeks after this moon. It's going to be a part of how you can indeed financially increase your value at work, with the boss, with the colleagues, and or the paycheck or the work and the work routine. Okay. It doesn't have to be like a big dream. It could be just a moment, blow drying your hair and having an aha moment, because Uranus rules aha, epiphany, eureka. Keep it on, keep it on. I told you this is going to be a quickie. Mercury, sun, moon, and rising sign. I just had like an inverted yield curve, Virgos, because usually my lunar videos do the best, and then the other ones do less. And now all of my other videos that I put out are way tracking more than the moon videos. I'm just really curious about that. So Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign people, especially rising sign, it's always the most accurate. Well, but sun and moon can work as well, but definitely listen for your rising. So This is going to be a moon sextiling you in a flow energy from your 11th house. So the moon is looking toward your identity, your body. It's flowing from the 11th, and it's beautifully full on two very positive stars, Canopus and Sirius, that I talked about in the beginning, with also Athena co-present. This can be some news, information, knowledge, or wisdom dispensed from friends and allies and benefactors and groups of belonging. You could also join a group of belonging and decide that you want to be in some new club, but you would have been thinking about this idea, tinkering with it. Okay, or good news from an eldest sibling. You've been tinkering with this idea way back in the first 2 weeks of July, and now you're bringing it home full harvest, fruition to whatever this benefit is you're having from maybe females, but any kind of people in your larger social groups and circles. Now, the flow energy towards you is very subtle. In a way, sextiles are not always like, knocking your socks off, but it certainly portends the 2 weeks that follow this moon, things are going to go smoothly. If you're a Virgo rising and foreign lands are a part of your world, courts or court cases, legal matters, visas, or academia, or going to university or college, then this is also, again, extremely positive for you. And there could be some surprises in those areas, but they actually work out in your highest good because Uranus is involved. Surprises are usually there. The moon is also going to be able to dispense some kind of news from your 5th house. Now, the 5th house has to do with pregnancy, your partners, your romantic partner, your inspiration, your independent business. Or the pregnancy of a child of yours, especially with Uranus in the house of grandchildren. So, if you're Virgo rising with children who are adults, then this could be, aha, oh my God, information, news, my child's pregnant, I'm going to have a grandchild. But if it's not that, then you as a Virgo rising should be a little bit careful around getting pregnant. Things look so positive in the sky that might be a happy surprise for you. But, Mercury is going to deliver news after January 6th from the house of pregnancy. Hello, that can be an interesting story. And the moon is reflecting it, though, in the house of long range goals and visions. So I'd say that in a way, if there is a pregnancy, it may sort of support a vision you really have for your life. Romance. You could hear from an old lover because Mercury's retrograde here, an old boyfriend. And then on January 12th, as Mercury is visible again, that story takes on a new life. So, an email, phone call from an ex, and all of a sudden, by the time January 12th comes along, there's some deeper connection, like time to get back together. I don't know. You might also think about this in terms of what you were doing in the first 2 weeks of July regarding ex-lovers or lovers in general. Okay. Or your independent business enterprise and your creativity. And lastly, there's a wedge pointing at the Vestal flame and the messenger of the gods in the 7th house of your partner. This moon has come off the joint resources with your partner wound. And so if there's been any wounding around the money you share with a business or love partner, and then we have this sort of Hermes messenger thing happening here in your 7th house, it's kind of like a good news story coming from your partner around finances, and possibly good money luck stories coming through from their sky, and it will benefit you as well. And this could be your business partner, your marriage partner, etc. Okay, I think that's everything for Virgos. Anything else? I bet you're dying to get that Saturn out of your 6th house, where you've been clobbered with health challenges on and off for 2 years. But Saturn, also known as Chani or Shani, is the planet that gives you the hard knocks so that you can create a better health foundation in your life. But I would say that with Saturn moving into your 7th house in March, some of what I'm seeing here looks like this lunation is going to ask you to get more serious as well about your marriage or your significant relationship. So this can look like serious as in making it more formal, getting engaged, getting married, setting dates and stuff like that. That's just for some of you Virgos. But the lunation is really tying into the house of your significant other. And it's such a positive moon. So I really like that as an option. All right, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. The narrative for you guys in this story is this. There is a big full moon in your career house, and you planted seeds there, right? The last June 28th, in the first 2 weeks of July of 22. So go back and try to remember what you were doing in your work, career, reputation zone, your visible action in the world. If you're mom full-time, that's your actions. You're a student, that's your actions. It's like the thing you're known to be doing in the world. It's also what you aspire to do as well, in the sense that you want to be seen for your success here. You want people to know that you're accomplished in this 10th house. It's where you shine your highlight starlight. It's where the sun is at the top of the sky. Okay. And this is a full moon that happens yearly, so it's not all that rare, but it's lovely because it's rare in its condition of conjunct two very powerful stars, Sirius and Canopus, bringing blessings, protection, and luck. It's wonderfully connected to Athena, the knowledge and wisdom goddess, also connected often to learning and books. So what is going on in your career here where there's a fullness around those themes as a Libra? Is there a book you wanted to write or something, and now you think because it's a part of your career path and now you're going to do it? Just trying to bracelet up, guys, because I'm going out to family dinner on Boxing Day in Canada. And I think if I was in this space with this full moon up here and anything to do with the word book mattered to me, I'd be all about it, like proposals, getting your book into a publisher, that kind of thing, or applying to a school or a university as well if you're a student, because, you know, Mars is going to go direct in your 9th house of academia and book publishing on January 12th. And then this lunation is connecting to Mercury, the messenger and the writer, going to the heart of the sun in your 4th house. Is there a writing project, a communications project you've been working on from home in your domestic private life? Mercury's retrograding, you're going back over the fine print. And then later around the 14th, when he's direct, you could be pitching that out to publishers. It could be a script, it could be a book, it could be anything like that. Or, you know, sending out your applications to various schools. I shouldn't say, I got over the habit. Why is it back today? Don't say that again, Laurie. The little guy with the squiggly thing on the flame over here in your 6th house. Okay, so this is another messenger energy. It's Hermes, the messenger of the gods, conjunct the vestal flame of something you want to devote yourself and persevere and go the distance with, a sacred flame of devotion. What in your work are you devoted to? And what good news can be coming up from the place of your service to the world and your work and your job? Because, you know, Mercury type energy is going to activate a lot from this lunation. This is a very Mercury rich moon, right? Because it's reflecting a Cazimi, because it's connected to the Hermes archetype. So in this sky, it looks like good news from the workspace affecting your career space in the 2 weeks that follow the moon. Work as in colleagues, coworkers, collegiate space, or pets, or tenancies, or debt elimination connected to your career. Being able to eliminate your credit card debt because your career is cashing in. Being able to get the pet you've always wanted and settle into the home with that pet, or whatever. You could also, in this condition, look at the 6th house as karmic relationships and what karmic, this is a house of dating as well, what dating or karmic relationship could be playing out in your life pretty strongly in the 2 weeks that follow the moon, but know that you already planted a seed around that theme in July. I can't deal with this anymore. I need to stand. The squeaky chair is going to drive me effing nuts. All right, but I can't really stand here without squatting, but you'll have to deal with my new position. Oh, that's better. All right, sorry about the squeaky chair, but oh my God, bar stool, in my friend's home. Anything else I want to tell you? If you want to buy or sell real estate or property, and you've had some wounds around agreements and negotiations and contracts around real estate and property, some of that's about to change. And if you've had any challenges in your life with 8th house matters, which is mortgages, taxes, investment monies, those are going to get better as well. Uranus is going to trine Mercury, the god of marketing and mercantile, in the 4th house of land and real estate. And it's also pointing at the house of tenancy. So that's that little blue triangle. So maybe you're going to also be able to rent a home you bought, or lease a home, or whatever. Those themes of real estate, property, home, and money, highly optimistic after this lunation. And look back to what was going on, as I said, in the first 2 weeks of July, there will be a connection. The connection is made. What song is that? That's David Palmer, Addicted to Love. All righty. Well, maybe you're going to date someone then, Libra. Okay, moving on to Scorpio. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign people, especially rising sign, always the most accurate. Now, in this sky for you, there's a full moon in the house of academics, father figures, the ninth house, the house of your spiritual wisdom and truth and faith and belief, conjunct the dog star and Sirius, two of the most powerful stars in the heavens and positive stars and magic and fame and alchemy. Certainly with the fame star up here, you can get a little bolt of fame, but it's more, ninth house doesn't usually deliver that. You're more behind the scenes. But what behind the scenes kind of success can you have regarding things to do with the ninth house themes? It's really good for legal matters. It's really good for father relationship things, father figure relationships. It's really good too for you if anything to do with foreign lands and shores is on your radar from your birthplace, foreign from your birthplace. And yeah, with Mercury across the way in the third house of trips, travel, moving vehicles, planes and trains, Mercury retrograde, you will, if you want to travel, you go to a place you've been before, you'll plan a trip to somewhere you've been before. It'll have something to do with the past, but he's Cazimi the sun the next day. There's a major reset here, reset with siblings, reset with travel, reset with something you're doing in your local neighborhood. And by the 14th of January, you'll really understand what this new moon, this full moon connected to a rebirth of Mercury is about. Certainly, if you're a writer, this could be a rebirth of a writing project or a communications project or an online project, because that's meanings of the third house. Third house is your local neighborhood, and there may be some kind of reset, rebirth, and change around your neighborhood. Time to shift neighborhoods. With this sextile from this Mercury and a trine from the moon to your fifth house of pregnancy, childbirth, and children, this could be some things that in this 2 weeks that follow the moon that has to do with your children. For instance, might be a lot about some news story that they're delivering to you, because of course the messenger of the gods is sitting there with a vestal flame of devotion in the fifth house of children. This could also look like a creative time for you, because there's Neptune and there's the messenger of the gods and the devotional flame in the house of the creative zone. When you write a book, write a song, some Scorpios are going to download something, because there's a very download vibe here, like download a new creative project that's going to be quite successful in the long run, but you may have had inklings of it in the first 2 weeks of July. I do like that Uranus is participating from legal contracts, seventh house, also from significant others, bosses, I'm not bosses, business partners and marriage partners. And this could open up something really cool. I'm going to put my laptop on a stand. I'll be right back. I'm just going to pause for you guys. I apologize. I can't get comfortable today. I've got ants in my pants. Give me a minute. Okay, now I'm looking like Cam White before he got his lapel mic. I couldn't deal with sort of everything, So I can't wait till I get to my new place in January and I set up a decent system. All right, so the long story short that I was telling you about is simply this. You're going to find that this is going to be opening up that beautiful energy of your creativity. And I can't see my chart. I bet you guys can see the screen that I can't see. Sorry, everything's wiggling. You're on a box. Gotcha, perched on a box. All right, so let your creative juices flow on this moon. Really love the vibe here. And you may be healing something to do with pets, tenancies, agreements, debt, eliminating a debt, because the moon has just come off that Chiron contact. And you could even get some debt relief from a father or father figure, helping you to pay off some credit cards or something like that. I'm just making it up, right? But there you go. Now I need my mouse. That would be a better idea. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is your sky. There is a full moon sitting in your eighth house, and this full moon in your eighth house is opening up a gateway of prosperity to do with money that you're leveraging from banks, mortgages, loans, investments, spousal money, inheritances, etc. It's definitely looking like you could really capitalize with a little wisdom and knowledge on a very blessed financial moment, especially connected to property and real estate or leasing and renting. And I'm also going to say that with Mercury coming into the heart of the sun and the spitting out the other side, this could also, in your second house of earnings, this could also involve a new trajectory for your money, your cash flow, and your earnings, visible more to you and available more to you after January the 14th, because that's when he's visible in our sky more or less. He's a morning star, so it's a new beginning and a reset of how cash flow, earnings, and possessions are coming into your world in a new way, and in a necessarily flowing way, because there's a lot of blue stuff going on in the sky called trines and sextiles. Uranus can give you a sudden new opportunity for a job or a career option that like suddenly comes out of the blue, and you could do it from home, or has something to do with your home life. And it's also very auspicious. Certainly with Hermes on the fourth house, home and homeland and property and real estate are on the radar. If you go back to like the first 2 weeks of July, how are those things on your radar? Then they're back and it looks good. It looks like you're prospering both in your earnings and the cash flow, but also in ways you can generate and leverage money. So getting the perfect mortgage, getting a real deal on a rental, renting out a property that you purchase, these are possibilities. You're coming off healing a sexual or romantic wound or a wound with one of your children. And that's also going to be smoothing out in the wake of this lunar event. So in the 2 weeks that follow, I'll look for some smooth ground in that part of your sky. And ultimately with Uranus in your sixth house, your freedom energies in the house of work. You want to be working but free. So this can look like freelancing. I love the word freelance, or things like getting an ability to work remotely or from home and to enjoy that process as well. And certainly a full moon in the house of inheritance, but it happens every year, can bring a chunk of inheritance to you. But I'm not saying this is a typical inheritance lunation. It's because there's so much flow, but you may be able to get some family wealth coming your way that doesn't belong to you, but comes from your legacy of your family property, family inheritance money, family things, possessions, great aunt June's, you know, super expensive diamonds that you can sell or something like that, especially with Pluto. That's why I said diamonds. All right, gold, diamonds, whatever. Moving on. I hope I'm not going too fast. I've got to pick my daughter up in a few minutes. What time is it? If you're in the premiere, please hit my like button. I really appreciate it. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign in their sky. This is going to be a moon that opens up a gateway to, especially rising. Hit the like button if you're in the premiere, to your seventh house of relationship, marriage, significant other, that kind of thing. And it's probably connected to something that was going on in the first 2 weeks of July. It's a very positive moon, as I've talked about earlier. Athena is here. She's a goddess of wisdom and knowledge and strategy. And this may be something that your partner, your marriage partner or business partner is applying, being very strategic, trying to apply wisdom and knowledge toward the relationship. Because there's a Cazimi resetting you, you may be resetting your perspective of your significant relationship and marriage partnership very clearly, and especially after January 14th, where you can see how your mind has changed on something to do with marriage and partnership. I also feel like you're coming off a wound to do with your home, private, and domestic life. It may have pertained to your partner, or just might have been a general all-purpose wound about something in the home and private life. And that's completing, and now you're healing that. And with Uranus in your fifth house of sexuality, you may be busting out and having a good time romantically. And if you're with somebody already, you pick it up. But if you're alone, you may have a quite exciting romance developing in the couple of weeks after the moon. Uranus here can be unexpected news and developments, because we also have connections to Hermes, the messenger, and Mercury, that your child is pregnant, that you're pregnant, that you're going to be a grandparent. These are all possible. Mercury rules the house of grandchildren for you. And also look for a potential sense of restoration, of more freedom around your romantic life, and having a sense of maybe freedom here. The vessel flame and Hermes are in the third house of siblings and local neighborhood, trips and travel. Maybe a journey is going to break open some leisure travel and romance, heal your significant marriage partnership. But most importantly, what I'd like to leave you with is your change of perspective or mind. Mercury will retrograde and into the heart of the sun and come into that Cazimi to reset as a morning star some view you have of your significant romantic relationships in your life. So keep that on the top of your radar. And we're going to do the Aquarius next. But before I do, I'll be right back. Aquarius. Oh, where did I plug in? I had a feeling I was being called by my children. Hang on. Let's Just pause.
Hi.
Hang on, I'm recording. Okay, I am back after emergency drive pickup my daughter and her boyfriend. Long story. So not emergency, but I was supposed to do it and they changed the time and I was losing track of my time. It's now, let's see, continuing on as it gets darker here in Vancouver and I'm sitting down again. We're going to talk next about Aquarius. I believe that's where I last left off, right, guys? So let's go for Aquarius. I think that's what I was just about to do. I think I finished with Capricorn. Let me just make sure I'm looking at the whole thing. Yes, I believe I did. All right, so we're going to move ahead to Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is, oh, if you're in the live premiere, hit the like button. Thank you. And don't forget to subscribe if you already haven't. So Aquarius, this is a story for you that a full moon is happening as it does every year around this time in your sixth house. This is a house where you do your day-to-day work, colleagues and workplace environment. Can also do it with health and health protocols to avoid sickness. Sometimes it's about pets and sometimes it's about leases and tenancies, etc. Sometimes it's also about debt, karmic and physical, like you owe money or credit cards or something. And a full moon is shedding a light here and it's reflecting the sun in your 12th house, which is a hidden house as well. So this is an interesting time in which things that are going on in behind the scenes in the backroom deals of your life or within your deep psychological, spiritual side of you are going to end up reflecting back into the house of your work and health protocols. Now, it's an interesting placement because you do have Athena here, the wisdom and knowledge goddess, and I being one of you, Aquarian people, I can relate to this. What kind of knowledge and wisdom will I be applying to my purposeful career service in the world in the 2 weeks that follow this January 6th moon? It could also look like shining a full light of some kind of knowledge and wisdom in terms of getting rid of an addiction or a bad habit, especially with Conopus and Sirius there, through spiritual means and through deep inner questing. Also, a very possible interpretation here could be a fullness of some health challenges that you were beginning to work on back in the first 2 weeks of July, and now are coming full circle into a sense of harvest or completion in probably a very positive way. Because one of the things going on, of course, is that you've got all this trine flow energy between this big full moon and the flame of devotion in the house of things you put in your mouth. Now, she's like the kitchen goddess. She looks like a fire. She's like, literally, you'll see her in the charts of famous chefs. And now she's in the house of things we imbibe through the mouth. So that can include things you eat, because you cook them anyway, by the way, usually, not always, but things that we eat, things that we smoke, or things that we drink. And there's this healing energy between the messenger Mercury, Hermes, I should say, but it's the same idea. Hermes, an asteroid that is like Mercury, same kind of idea, flowing toward Mercury, the messenger of the dreams and the dream realm, on a sun in which he's about to go into the heart of the sun. And the day after this moon, become Cazimi and be born again. It's like a reset button in a big way around a self-sabotage, self-addiction, and self-defeating habits and patterns through our values, how we feel about ourselves, our self-esteem, things that we imbibe, things that we ingest, and all of that. Sometimes with the moon over here in a full light in the sixth house, a very prominent female figure in your work environment or career space could play a vital role in helping you come to a fullness regarding the work itself. I would say as well with Uranus, the god of the unexpected and sudden change, sitting here in the bottom of the sky in your fourth house of land and property, home, domestic life, and real estate, forming a relationship in the sky that is toward that Mercury that is going to reset itself in your 12th house. There could be something developing in the 2 weeks for many Aquarians. It's going to show you a direction that you need to go in through messages or information or emails about where you finally want to live. Like, where's your true nest? Where are you going to stick the landing here after this nomad transit that happened starting in 2018? And that Uranus is talking to the moon. You can't see it because the moon's moved on because I've progressed a chart, but during the lunation, Uranus is in a relationship as well to the moon. That's called a sextile. It's very flowing. It's almost like, will you have a means to rent a new place or to rent out a new place or have some debt relief that allows you to move your home in a positive way? And things about this question of home and debt and tenancy all began for you as a new beginning, as a new seed of a new moon back in the first 2 weeks of July, but now it's coming to fullness. So if I use me as an example, because there's Uranus, I don't know if this is going to be true, right? Because unexpected stuff can happen, but I'm moving into a place on the 13th of the month of January. And that's like literally the Cazimi Mercury becomes visible around the 14th, and that is resetting something in the 12th house connected to my home in the 4th house. But you've got this Uranus component, something unexpected, something surprising. It could be a good surprise. So I'm not sure what to make of it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm renting a place for 6 months. Maybe the owner in Sweden says she'd rather have me for a year. Would I extend the lease? I probably would say yes. Things like that. Okay, other options here. Is things to do with your mother or family of origin or homeland or childhood home, could be up in the air and in the aftermath of this. And it may connect as well to some healing to regards to sibling and travel. The moon has just come off of a square connection to Chiron, where there has been, just before the full moon, a healing around travel, trips, siblings, skills-based learning, online world, things to do like with those vibes. And there may be a connection because of that to those factors as the moon becomes full in the 2 weeks that follow. I have a wound around travel right now because I can't visit my sister in the United States because I'm not vaccinated. The United States won't let foreigners in without a vaccination. The only country left in the world, I think. And so there's that story. So maybe I'll find that the TSA on January 8th does finally let foreigners into the United States who haven't been vaccinated. And Canada let that rule go ages ago. All right. I gotta pause the recording. Hang on. That was the dog that I'm babysitting, barking at the boyfriend of my daughter who just walked in the door. So now let's continue and finish up with you and move to Pisces in a minute. So I'm going to give you examples from my own life, right? Because it's easy to demonstrate because I'm Aquarius, but, it'll be different for all of us in our lives. And I have a strong Saturn. So, I'm a strong Aquarian. I really, finding Aquarius rising works for me. So what else can I tell you? Anything else? Money and earnings is your second house. And there's messages, Mercury, marketing, mercantile, news, information to do with your earnings and your money story coming through your second house. And there's a possibility, therefore, that this lunation is opening up work and money opportunities, especially if you do foreign barter and trade or any kind of PayPal and Stripe accounts to foreign lands. There's some salmon in the fridge, Hallie, smoked salmon. And so anyway, keep all of those ideas in mind. It looks like it could be very prosperous moon, but if you're going to prosper financially from this moon, then you're prospering from something that happened in the first 2 weeks of July. There will be a way to connect those dots, okay? So let's do the Pisces next, and then we'll be done. I hope I didn't rush through you guys. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign, especially rising, will be the most accurate. The only time it may not be the most accurate is if you have a sun and moon and a bunch of other planets in another sign. Okay, but yeah, your rising sign is all about you. Someone in my comments said their sun is more accurate. And I'm like, then I got to see your chart because that doesn't make any sense. Maybe the ruler of the ascendant is an aversion to the ascendant, making their ascendant weak. So that's another option. But anyway, I'm mumbling. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. Let's get back to you. There's a full moon in your house of children. And this is also your sexuality and your romantic life and your independent business enterprise. If you're an entrepreneur, all of these things are coming to a fullness. And this could look like the fullness from something that you were working on back in July, the first 2 weeks. And when it comes to your children, things they may have been working on in July, the first 2 weeks of July, 2022. With the wisdom and knowledge goddess Athena here in the 5th house, it could be information news about your children when it comes to learning or studying or something that they're doing in their acquiring of knowledge. You could also look at this moon here as a very strong indicator that If you have your own business, the key to fruition and fullness is it has something to do with acquiring wisdom and knowledge you need in order to make your business successful. I do think that with Mercury's energy going into the heart of the sun on the day after the lunation in your 11th house of good spirit is very positive, but you won't see Mercury's gifts to you from friends and allies and people in powerful places. Also connects, by the way, to eldest sibling until after January 14th, because we want Mercury to be visible. But as he goes into the heart of the sun the day after this full moon, it'll take about 2 weeks to be visible again, but he's planting seeds for something new, becoming a brand new morning star Mercury. And he's giving you brand new energy of support from groups, greater gains from your career, positive lucky money breaks as well, coming through sometime in the probably, I see the 2 weeks after the moon, but more likely after the 14th to about the 21st of January. And then also you have the idea that you've got a messenger in the house of you on a sacred flame of devotion conjunct Neptune. Thinking my Pisces rising sister getting back to doing her divine time, her tarot readings again. But what is it you need to say message into the house of eldest sibling, into the world, into your hopes, dreams, and wishes, into the larger sphere of your social influence from your own mouth. The messenger is in your house. And you got devotional energy and sacred energy, like it's something you care about. And on top of that, you're very visionary with it. And it's all flowing to the 5th house of entrepreneurship, but also children, also romance, and also lover. It could be emails and phone calls and conversations that you're inciting with somebody who is a romantic partner in the 2 weeks that follow this lunation. But then you have to go back and look at what was going on in July around guarding those themes. A full moon in the 5th house is always a fertility marker. Be careful if you don't want to be pregnant or your partner, because that is definitely something that could happen here, just so you know. And yeah. And then with Uranus giving you all this unexpected shock and awe, excitement, well, that's interesting. You know, he's pretty busy down here at 15 degrees and he is sextiling, it doesn't show, but the moon during the lunation. And this is like, okay, what is this positive surprise connected to 3rd house things and 5th house things? So siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, skills-based learning, trips and travel. So let's use my sister Cindy, a Pisces rising, because I just did my Aquarius and she lives in the United States and I can't visit her. A positive surprise would be in the house of trips and travel. There is a letting go of the US vaccine policy that doesn't let unvaccinated non-nationals enter the country. Only country left in the world except North Korea, maybe, who has that policy in effect in the era of Omicron, but it's still there for some strange reason that no one can figure out. Because if you're vaccinated, you're still going to transmit and get infected now. We all know that. So it doesn't make any difference anymore. So then the other thing here is you could have a positive download, like to write something or communicate something with Uranus in your 3rd and the messenger of the gods Cazimi in Mercury in your 11th. It's going to help you aspire towards some of your biggest dreams and wishes. So you might have a writing download, an idea, something you wish to communicate, but it will amplify your success in the world and your gains from your career as well, especially if you work in the online world in any means at all. You just came off this moon, a woundedness, a touchdown with a square to Chiron in your earnings house. A lot of Pisces may have felt a woundedness in their earnings, their self-worth, their self-esteem and self-value. And that's coming to a healing with this moon as there's more prosperity evident from that 11th house Mercury. And so things begin to move in a positive way, but you have to be a part of that healing as well. The Vestal Flame and the Hermes god are talking to your 3rd house and also to your 11th, and therefore how you bring money in, because the 11th and the 5th, by the way, bring money in, have to do with you being inspired, enthusiastic, joyful, hopeful, grateful about what you're about to do to earn money or to increase your earnings. All right. And friends in high places where eldest siblings can be supportive or helpful in that direction of increasing the financial gain in your life. And lastly, I'd say Uranus sextiles the moon in the house of children, unexpected pregnancy, or your child is unexpectedly pregnant. If you have children, could lead to grandchildren. We shall see. We shall see. All right. Thank you, Pisces, for listening. If you guys are still around in the chat, I feel like I've been recording forever because I had to go out and drive somewhere. Thank you for being here in the live premiere chat. Please hit my like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you already haven't. And you can always comment. I always comment back, share my videos and all that. I'm recording on December 26th. This goes to my Patreon community where they get it ad-free for several days before it goes on YouTube. So if that interests you and you want to catch the early wave of my content without listening to ads, you can still come to the premiere. Check out my Patreon, $5 a month. You can always quit. It's not an obligation. It's a month-by-month choice. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys in my next video. I think I'm pushing into the world. My already recorded Saturn video. Saturn is coming into the sign in 2023 of Pisces, and it's going to make a huge difference in each of our lives. Stay tuned for that next. Take care, and thank you for supporting my channel.